We were taught that emotional intelligence means being kind, being agreeable, understanding how others feel. That if you could read emotions well enough, anticipate reactions, and adjust yourself accordingly, you were emotionally intelligent. The ancient Greeks believed something far more unsettling. They believed emotional intelligence had nothing to do with being nice. For the ancient Greeks, emotional intelligence was never about influence. It was about order within the self. They believed that if your emotions ruled you, someone else always would. Machiavellian psychology took the same awareness, but asked a different question. Not, how do I master myself, but how do I use emotion to master others? This is where the path splits. The same emotional intelligence can create clarity or control, freedom or leverage. The Greeks called this wisdom. Others turned it into power. Level 1 is not stupidity, it is reactivity. At this level, emotions arrive, and action follows immediately. Anger becomes speech, fear becomes obedience, desire becomes impulse. People at this level believe they are choosing, but their days are scripts, their opinions are inherited, their reactions are predictable. They don't decide how they feel, they explain it after the fact. This is the most crowded level, not because people are incapable, but because comfort lives here. As long as emotion rules the mind, something else will always rule the person. Level 2 begins with a realization. You notice the system. You see that emotion influences people. That language shapes perception. That appearing intelligent can be rewarded, sometimes more than being wise. At this level, emotional intelligence becomes a display. You learn the right words, the right opinions, the right emotional responses. You sound thoughtful, you look aware, but your inner world remains unchanged. This level feels superior to unconsciousness, and that's why it's dangerous, because approval replaces truth, and recognition replaces mastery. You're no longer asleep, but you're not awake either. At level 3, something changes. You stop performing, and you start observing. You notice patterns behind behavior, causes behind reactions, systems behind outcomes. Emotion no longer leads. Reason steps in. You analyze before you act. You calculate before you commit. You begin choosing what works, not what feels good. But clarity creates distance. You see through illusions others still live in. Conversations feel repetitive. Emotional reactions feel predictable. You gain leverage over life, but lose comfort with people. At level 4, intelligence turns inward. You no longer ask, what works? You ask, what must be restrained? Emotion still arises, but it no longer commands action. You pause before responding. You choose discomfort over impulse. You act according to principle, not pressure. For the first time, your inner world has structure. This level is not loud, it doesn't seek recognition, but it is unmistakable. Because when you can govern yourself, you no longer need to control anything else. At level 5, discipline is no longer enough. You can control yourself, but now you must decide where to apply that control. Intelligence becomes directional. Not every action is equal. Not every victory is worth winning. You begin thinking in consequences, not just what works now, but what remains sound later. You balance reason with restraint, strength with fairness, effectiveness with integrity. This level carries weight, because once you see clearly, you are responsible for what you choose. You can no longer blame impulse, ignorance, or circumstance. Power now answers to judgment. At level 6, intelligence detaches from personalities. You stop thinking in terms of people and start thinking in terms of systems, incentives, structures, environments. You realize behavior is rarely personal, it's engineered. You no longer ask what will happen next. You ask what will happen after that. You see consequences layered over time, reactions creating reactions, patterns repeating across generations. At this level, control becomes unnecessary. You don't push people, you shape the current they move in. Because when the environment is designed correctly, behavior follows naturally. At the final level, intelligence releases its grip. You no longer seek to control yourself, or others, or systems. Not because you can't, but because you don't need to. Emotion still arises, thought still forms, systems still exist, but none of them define you. You act when action is necessary, and remain still when it is not. This is not withdrawal, and it is not dominance. It is alignment. When nothing inside you demands reaction, nothing outside can command you. Most people never see this ladder. They feel the pressure, the confusion, the exhaustion, but they never understand why. Awareness is rare, and it always comes with responsibility. This channel exists for those who choose to rise, not above others, but above unconsciousness. If this made something clearer for you, subscribe to Timeless Mind by Nikolaos. Not for motivation, for remembrance. You don't rise by climbing faster. You rise by noticing where you already stand. The ladder was never hidden, only ignored.